guys and welcome to my channel. I just had a shower and put my hair up in like this little ponytail just because I went to the beach with my friend Holly. It's literally such a hot day today, so we were like, we may as well just go to the beach. So we basically did that for a couple of hours. I just spent some time in the sun and went in the water, and then I came back and washed my hair. But basically tonight we're going out for like a little girls night because I haven't had like a girls night in a really long time, and it's basically me, Holly and some other girls that are going as well. So I'm gonna film for you guys my get ready with me whilst I go out. But I thought to make this more interesting as well, I am going to talk about Fashion Week whilst I do it, but not just Fashion Week. It's more like the behind the scenes of like what they don't tell you and what you guys don't see, because I have like 3 vlogs up now from Fashion Week, maybe 4. I actually think I have 4 vlogs up now from Fashion Week, which is crazy to think. But there's so much that like I don't tell you, or like you guys don't see, that like happens, or like things that you might want to know about, from like the castings and like how the whole process goes, who gets chosen for the shows, and kind of like the whole process behind the scenes that no one really tells you about and no one knows unless you're a model in the industry already, or especially if you've been overseas. Because for me personally, a lot of this stuff escalated and I didn't realize until I went overseas. Basically, one thing I realized from doing Fashion Week in Paris, which I did at the start of this year. Okay, side note, I'm just gonna like wash my face before I get into my makeup, just because I like to have a clean base so that my skin doesn't get pimples and things like that if I'm putting on makeup upon my face, because you gotta look after your skin at the same time. So I'm just going in with a toner first. Comment down below if you want me to say certain products I'm using, but I'm not gonna describe everything I'm using because I just kind of want to get into talking about the behind the scenes of Fashion Week. But yeah, what I was going to say is I went to Paris at the start of this year, which like a lot of you know if you've seen my videos, and the ball game overseas with like just the competitiveness, the amount of models, what they're looking for, like the casting process, all of that is a lot more intense overseas, especially in Paris, than it is in Australia for Australia Fashion Week. That is because first of all, the Sydney market is like a lot smaller than the Paris market, I guess, and like the European markets for modeling, because places like Milan, London, Paris, they're all known as like primary industries for fashion and for modeling especially. Like Milan's obviously known as like the fashion capital of the world, so that's definitely a primary market, whereas Australia is known as like a secondary market, and same with places like Tokyo and Singapore and things like that. They're all like secondary markets. In terms of like the casting process overseas, like in Paris, most models won't do the castings for shows until like the day before the show, or like sometimes the morning of the show. Sometimes you don't even know if you're doing a show until like a couple of hours before the show even starts. It is so last minute, and not necessarily in a bad way. It's just like they actually, like a lot of the time they're like so focused on getting the clothes ready. Sometimes I guess if you're like debuting for a show, or you are an exclusive for a show, which basically means you're walking for that show and that show alone, which means they pay you more, which is like pretty good. But then you'll find out earlier than like the night before, but usually otherwise you just find out the night before. That goes for the same with like many other modeling jobs that you get. It's usually like the night before that you kind of find these things out. So it is definitely very last minute. I mean, I remember when I was in Paris, I like cannot multitask, I swear. Doing Fashion Week, I didn't do most of my castings until not even the week before the show. It's like a couple days before Fashion Week started, and during Fashion Week you're doing castings for shows later on in the week for Fashion Week. It's very intense like that. But you know what? That is Paris for you. Okay, I'm gonna start doing my actual makeup now because I gotta like move along. Also, my hair does not look like the vibe right now, but we're gonna fix that after. That's just a problem for afterwards. In terms of like the amount of models you see overseas, it's like really eye-opening to how many girls in this world and guys want the same thing and have the same dream and vision for their future. Like it's kind of very eye-opening. When I went to Paris, I did a casting for YSL. It was a request casting for one, which basically means the casting director picked you out and wants to see you. So it's like very specific, like not just any model can go to the casting. But even the request casting alone, there were over 200 girls. It was over like a couple of hours waiting for you to be seen, and then when they see you, the casting director will see you for like literally 5 seconds and that's it. And one thing I noticed at the casting was there are literally over like 200 girls that look exactly like me, are tall, have brown hair, similar kind of skin tone, things like that, and it's like they know what they want and they know what look they're looking for, and whether you're the fit or not is just like honestly out of your control, because they have a vision, and if you don't fit the vision, you don't fit the vision. But it is good to remember that at the end of the day, it's no deeper than if you're the look, you're the look, and if you're not, you're not, because it's obviously like a lot of rejection that you're dealing with, especially when you like walk into a casting that you've been waiting hours for and they take one look at you and they're just like, you're not the right fit for us. That can obviously be like very disheartening, but you just have to remind yourself that if you're not the fit for that brand, you're going to be a fit for another designer. If that wasn't your season to thrive, there'll be another season for you to thrive. And I had to keep reminding myself through the whole process, because I have found that in Sydney, for example, I do really well here and I thrive in this market, but then going overseas to Paris doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be the same ball game. So you just kind of have to find your market that works for you. And when you deal with rejection, just remember that it's no deeper than like how you look. If they were basing it off of personality and things like that, that would actually be a lot worse, because I feel like that would affect me a lot more. But at the end of the day, if they want a blonde girl, they're going to pick a blonde girl. If they want a brunette, they'll pick me, and that goes the same for you in the industry. So yeah, I mean, dealing with rejection is definitely like a big part of it. It is definitely and was definitely eye-opening to see overseas how competitive it is. I don't say competitive in the sense of like all the models there hate each other and everyone wants to be the best and beat each other. Like no one actually like is like that. Everyone's very down to earth. At least from my experience, I realized everyone was really down to earth, and like everyone's there to help each other and like kind of be each other's support, because obviously you're all in the same boat. Like you're all away from family for so long, you're all kind of doing your own thing, and it's important to like lean on each other in times like this, especially during fashion week when everyone's burnt out and really tired and just kind of want some support from people. But I mean competitiveness in the sense that at the end of the day, you guys all do want the same thing. There are so many people you see that will look a lot like you, and it's kind of hard to not think like, okay, well if they got it, why didn't I? I don't know. I feel like every industry has its competition. I personally don't feel like I'm in competition with anyone, but people are in competition with me. That's not my problem. In terms of like the people watching the shows, I don't know, I found it so interesting when I first started modeling. I was like, who is even watching these runway shows that we're doing? Is it just our agents? Wow, I put way too much blush. Is it just our agents? Like who's actually watching it? It's actually a lot of influencers, which one thing I realized is fashion week is honestly more for influencers now than it is for like the actual models and the runway shows. It seems to be more about the people in the audience who wear the clothes, post on their Instagram, like people like Kylie Jenner and like the celebrities who come to these fashion shows, and then it becomes a big thing. But yeah, people who watch these fashion shows are usually people in the industry, maybe designers or like celebrities. I mean, overseas it's definitely a lot of celebrities. In Australia it seems to be a lot of like Instagram influencers and people like that. I personally have not met many like cool people yet, but you know, I believe my time will come. Okay, this is the part that I cannot do in the camera, but I'm gonna just put on some eyeliner real quick and then I'll be back. I only just started putting eyeliner like under my eyes. I think I started less than a year ago, but I just feel like first of all it makes your eyes look a little bigger, and also it just gives a bit more definition under the eyes, which I think looks really good. But each one for themselves. And then I'm going to go in with my Bad Gal mascara, Benefit mascara. I've literally had the same mascara for years now. I'm going to try and do this in the camera. This is going to turn out. I need to get like a mirror that I can like put here. Well, I have the mirror there, but it's just all the way at the other end of the room. Okay, now that that's done, I'm just gonna do some blush, even though I did already some blush, some highlighter. We're actually nearly done. I like to keep my makeup very, very simple, but that is basically what we're dealing with right now. It's very simple. It doesn't even look like I'm wearing anything, but that is the goal. Another thing about fashion week that I just find pretty funny is what you guys don't see, I think, from like vlogs, is I show when we're doing the shows and like getting hair and makeup done, but genuinely the week before fashion week and fashion week itself, it is actually always like the busiest week of your life, in the sense that there are so many things like you don't actually see. One show, for example, this year and last year, I had to be up at 3 a.m. for my call time at 4 a.m. and the night before I only got home from my show at 1 a.m. So like you're literally getting like sometimes 2 hours of sleep a day, and then you get to the show and you have like 3 shows in the day. There's a lot of times when like you do get really tired, and by the end of the week, I genuinely, the next following week or even just like a couple of days after fashion week, I lock myself in my room and I just like need my own space. I cannot go on my phone, I cannot socialize with anyone. You're just completely drained and completely out of social battery, that you need your own time and you need your own space. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that you're around so many people constantly. There's about 30 to 40 models in each show. That's a lot of people in itself. And then you have the hair people, the makeup artists, stylists, the dresses, the designer, everyone who works for the designer, all these people telling you like what to do, where you have to be, your agents telling you like what you have on the next day. And there's just a lot of socializing that goes on during fashion week, which is great, and that's why it's such a fun week. It's just like a couple of days after fashion week, sometimes up to a week, and just kind of like recharge my battery. And that happens every year. No matter how much I get used to fashion week, it'll never not be a thing. I think it's always important, just in life as well, with whatever job you have, I guess, like have that time to yourself. But it's so hard to have that time to yourself during fashion week when you're literally getting like 2 hours of sleep a night and then you're around people constantly throughout the day. I like to call it fashion week burnout, where you just kind of need your own space, and I think that's really important. It's also important, I guess, because like everyone during fashion week are like people and friends that you're not going to see again for a while. A lot of my friends in the industry I only see during fashion week, so it's nice to catch up with them and spend your time with them, and then I guess once it's done you can have your time to yourself. If you guys have any good recommendations for lip products, please let me know down below for like lip liners and like lipsticks and stuff, because I've been using this Mecca Max lip pencil, which is classy color, which I think looks great, but I'm also keen to start using a different one for a little bit. I don't know if you can hear my dogs barking downstairs, but I'm so sorry if you can. I feel like a lot of the time I will show you guys like videos of me getting ready for castings, but I can never actually take you into castings, so I'm going to tell you really quickly like what castings involve and what actually happens when you're in the casting. Basically, you'll wait at the casting sometimes a couple minutes, sometimes a couple hours. It just kind of depends on what casting you're going to, who the brand designer is, and how many people there are and how many models they want to book. But once you're in the casting room with the director, you'll pretty much give them your comp card, and a comp card's basically just like a photo with you on it and your name, your measurements, things like that, so they kind of know if you're the fit. I'll show you an example considering it's right here. This is my comp card, which basically just says Lauren Stevenson, and then the back is me, and then my measurements and stuff are at the bottom. So you just basically give them your comp card. Sometimes they want like 2 or 3, but usually they just want 1, so I'll just give them a comp card, and then they usually tell you to do your walk. Either they'll be like, okay, thank you, and you leave, which is kind of like not what you want, or they'll say, can you come here, and then they'll take a photo of you. Usually if they take a photo of you holding your comp card after you do your walk, that's a good sign. It kind of means they want you for the show, because they obviously want to take a photo of you so that they can remember you and remember what you look like, because then they'll pass it on to someone else who sees if you're right for the show. But yeah, that's basically how it works. A lot of the time you can never actually tell how you did in a casting. Like, I'll just do my walk and think I did really bad, and then the next day I actually book the show, or I think I did really good and then they don't book me for the show. So you never actually know how it's going to go. My biggest tip with castings is to just be yourself, because I remember when I was 16 and I first started going to fashion week castings, I felt so confident in the car going to the castings, and then the minute I was there and I saw like so many models around, I just like completely lost my confidence, because obviously I was looking at all these gorgeous models and I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm up against. These girls are gorgeous. But it's great to recognize everyone's beauty, see that they are like such amazing models, but you just got to remind yourself that you are one as well. And I think to focus on your strengths and go in just being yourself will definitely get you a lot further than trying to be someone that you think they want you to be, because I don't know, I just feel like authentic energy comes off a lot more pure and a lot more attractive than energy that is just kind of there to please and make people like you. Yeah, that's basically like my only big tip for castings, is to literally just be yourself, which I know sounds so cheesy because it's like everyone says just be yourself, but I genuinely think it gets you a lot further. And when people and casting directors especially can like see that you're authentic and that you bring something new and something different to the table, whether it be like your personality or like a hobby you do, they're a lot more likely to book you, because people want interesting people for their shows. They don't want just a pretty face. That like phrase is used a lot in the industry. It's just no one wants to just be a pretty face. Okay, well, I'm trying to think of what else I need to put on for my makeup. It's kind of hard to tell in the camera. What I'm gonna wear is like a cute little black mini skirt, and then I'm gonna wear like a cute top, like a tube top. Have I even told you guys what I'm doing tonight and why I'm getting ready? I can't remember, but basically I'm getting ready because I'm going out for girls night. It's like a Mexican restaurant, but they have like girls night on Thursday, so it's like tacos are $2 and cocktails are $15. So we're gonna go do that, but I'm gonna go to my friend Holly's house first, and we're gonna have some drinks because Thursday night, why not? So I'm gonna get changed in a little bit. I just took my hair out and I'm gonna just let it air dry, because I realized that like, I don't know, it doesn't look that good when it's up, especially once it's dry. It's gonna look like fluffy, and like that's just not the vibe. So we're gonna have my hair out today, and then I'll show you guys the fit real quick. I'm just wearing, the whole fit's actually from the same store. It's called Teshuzi, which is in Bondi. It's like this burgundy colored sparkly top, and then just this little black mini skirt with a little cut in the side, and then just little heels with like a tiny little heel on the bottom. But yes, this is the fit that we're gonna wear. I'm actually not going to take a jacket just because it's really hot today, and I just feel like that's just going to be a waste of something to take. But I'm about to head to my friend Holly's place and have a nice dinner out. I want to film so many more get ready with me's just because I find them fun to make, and also like I'm constantly getting ready for things, so I just feel like I can like do 2 things at once and film a YouTube video at the same time, and it just kind of feels productive. It feels like I'm getting a lot of stuff done, which feels nice. But that is the fit and the makeup. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!